Stranger Things fans should learn from the past few seasons and keep tissues handy this time when they watch the next volume of Season 4. This season is about to get messy, and not everyone will make it this time around. In today's video, we'll talk about Noah Schnapp saying that fans can expect some deaths in Volume 2, and how this makes for an exciting season finale. Warning, spoilers for Volumes 1 and 2 of Stranger Things 4 ahead. First, let's recap. The first part of this season was pretty full of action. We definitely can't act like it was a death-free volume, but it was mainly not so relevant secondary characters whose stories came to an end. The series opened with the Hawkins Lab massacre with Elle all bloodied up and dozens of kids on the floor dead. Then we saw poor Chrissy Cunningham meet her terrible fate at Eddie Munson's trailer by the end of the first episode, which basically set the tone for how the rest of the season would play out. Once we saw our good girl Chrissy levitating, we knew this season would be more dark and gruesome than the ones to have come before. Soon enough, Vecna attacks the next of his victims too, which led to the end of local school news reporter Fred Bunson's and high school football player Patrick's lives. In addition to all of these, we saw the deaths of Alice and Virginia Creel in some flashbacks. Finally, an unknown hero Agent Man dies trying to protect Mike, Will, and Jonathan. Of course, some of our favorite characters barely make it out alive. Steve nearly dies fighting the Demobots, and Max would have died for sure if it wasn't for Kate Bush. Now, on to what Noah Schnapp's been saying. In an interview with Jimmy Fallon, Schnapp mentioned that this season isn't like any other one before. As many of you know, Schnapp's often compared with Tom Holland because of his reputation to accidentally spoil things. When asked what can be expected of Season 2, the actor said, "We've got some deaths coming, some gore," right before the host cut him off. Fallon responded with, "Dude, you just said something you can't say." The Will Byers actor then confirmed that he wasn't specifying who's dying and decided to avoid spilling any unnecessary facts for the rest of the interview. To be fair, even the Duffer Brothers have hinted at a few deaths this season. They've already mentioned that viewers should be concerned going into the final episodes for everyone. Obviously, this led to tons of fan theories emerging. As soon as Schnapp confirmed the deaths, people rushed to Twitter to discuss what could possibly be next. Since the finale left us scared for Nancy, many people thought this is it for the character. But at the same time, we know what Max has been through. Would Vecna really leave her alone after she managed to escape the first time? Then there's Will and Jonathan. Will was honestly quite neglected lately. Viewers were hoping that after 2 seasons of him going through hell and back, literally, he'd be shown a bit more love this season. As for Jonathan, his great character development in the first 3 series was reduced to him being a stoner throughout this season. The treatment of these 2 characters in the first volume really raised theories about whether the Duffer Brothers are trying to get us to not care for these characters. Maybe if we liked them a bit less, it'd be easier to kill them off. Generally, there's been a lot of confidence that Elle's not going anywhere. Our small-town superhero is the only one who's consistently been saving the world. She has to do it again. And one thing's for certain, no one wants Eddie or Steve to die. Steve's been a fan favorite, mommy of the group, and Eddie, while new, has won hearts all around the world in just 7 episodes. But Eddie's life was definitely more feared. The Duffer Brothers have had a reputation of killing off new characters we come to love. Hint, hint, we mean Alexei. This also means Enzo's life was just as much at stake as Eddie's. So what actually happened? Well, of course, now that Volume 2 is out, so many of our theories have been confirmed or denied. The first of the deaths we see is Dr. Brenner's, which was actually one that many people were expecting. Well, the Duffers have always been masters of the element of surprise, so maybe you saw this coming if you expect the unexpected. While the majority of viewers don't really have any particular affection for this character, his death was still a hard one to witness. Though he was somewhat of an evil scientist, he was the reason Eleven discovered her powers, and without him, she may never be able to explore the full extent she can go to. The next death was Eddie's, which was a lot harder for fans. Even though we hadn't spent much time with the character, he'd grown on all of us. He was the big brother Destin never had, and the lovable rebel character the show desperately needed. His final scene ends with him saying, "I didn't run away this time, right?" to Dustin, which was needless to say, because for a lot of waterworks worldwide, viewers everywhere have been hoping that since we didn't get any official burial, he might somehow make it. Nevertheless, even if he doesn't, we know he died a hero, even if it was for a town that hated him. Max's final battle with Vecna also did some serious emotional damage. Somewhere deep down, maybe we all knew this was coming, but like every other time, we'd hoped she'd make it out. But unfortunately, Max doesn't quite win this one. Her legs and eyes give out, and Eleven barely manages to save her. But we don't know what really happened there. At the end, we see our favorite redhead in a coma, and when Elle tries to reach out to her, she sees nothing in her head. Maybe she's still up there there somewhere, or maybe this is really the end after all. Either way, we're going to need some time to grasp this. Now, on to some other news. To begin with, Season 5 is coming. Thankfully, this is one thing we know for sure. Even though Netflix is notorious for canceling shows, this one was renewed for a 5th season before the 4th one was even here. The sad thing about this news, though, is the lack of hope we have for a 6th season. The Duffer Brothers have confirmed that the next season to follow will be the last. The story was originally written to be told in 4 seasons, but it turned out that 5 were needed to really do the story justice. It is expected that Season 5 will come out sooner than Season 4 was, so given that filming has not yet started, late 2023 or early 2024 would be an ambitious guess. Moving on, this show is breaking records. Stranger Things Season 4 is truly one of a kind. It's been breaking records left and right. It premiered at #1 across more than 80 countries, which even Schnapp said always feels surreal. On its opening weekend, it was streamed for more than 268 million hours, making it the biggest English language debut on Netflix. By June 21st, which was the 24th day of the season's release, it had become the most streamed English language TV show ever on Netflix. It was streamed for a whopping 883 million hours, breaking Bridgerton Season 2's record. It also broke Nielsen's streaming records. In just 1 week of the 7-episode volume's release, it was streamed for over 7 billion minutes, making it the most viewed program in a single week. It's even more fascinating to think about when you realize that previously only Tiger King and Ozark ever crossed 7 billion minutes. The world has officially turned upside down. Finally, what else is the cast doing? Because of Stranger Things, the core cast might be some of the most popular teen stars right now. But if you're wondering what the cast is up to when they're not busy filming, we're here to tell you all about it. The show's biggest star and 2-time Emmy nominee Millie Bobby Brown isn't sitting idle when she's not busy being a superhero. Her skincare line Florence by Mills is doing wonders with new products coming out every now and then. Besides that, the sequel to Enola Holmes is expected to come out later this year, where Brown is playing the lead character. Sadie Sink, who plays Max, who was also recently praised highly for her work in Taylor Swift's All Too Well short film. Sink says working with Swift was an honor and a very special opportunity for her. Sink is also expected to be starring in an upcoming psychological thriller called The Whale. Gaten Matarazzo, who plays Dustin, is also co-starring alongside Andrew Rice in an upcoming rom-com-esque movie called Honor Society, which will be released soon this year on Paramount+. Similarly, Caleb McLaughlin is set to be a part of a show called Warriors, which will come out in 2023. Finn Wolfhard, Maya Hawke, and Joe Keery all have musical careers as well, alongside their acting journeys. As for Schnapp, we're not quite sure what he's up to these days. Hey, maybe it's due time for him to relax after carrying the weight of being a phenomenal actor on his shoulders for so many seasons. That's a wrap for this video. What characters were you expecting to die in Volume 2? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one!